Let's first of all pick a milestone. I think $100,000 a year, that's about minimum where you really want to be aiming for in this business. Would you agree? I mean, if you're making less than $100,000, here's the fact. If you're making less than 100 grand in Mobe, there are probably easier ways to go and make $100,000 a year than doing this business. Okay, because you can go and get a job, and even if you're making $8,400 a month from a job, you're going to be doing six figures. Okay, so you really want to be aiming for at least $100,000 a year. Now, what separates those who go on to do it from the rest who don't? Well, first of all, let's ask the question, how many people have actually made more than $100,000 in Mobe? Have a guess. What do you think the answer is? 50? The answer is I don't know. I probably should know, but I don't know the exact answer. But if I had to guess at this point, I think it would be close to about 100. Which, when you think about it, that's not a whole lot of people, is it? Compared to the number of people in Mobe, the number of people who brought the 21 steps, for example, is well over 100,000 people. So to think that between 50 and 100 of them have gone on to make $100,000 at least, and the rest haven't, that, I mean, when you're looking at those numbers, that can look a little bit intimidating. You think, wow, that's a very small percentage. But here's the good news. Of the 100,000 people who brought the 21 steps, at least 80,000 of them do stuff all. They don't do anything. Okay, they don't do a single thing. So you can't really look at the percentage of people who make more than six figures from everyone, because most people in this business do absolutely nothing. Okay, so when you guys do cross $10,000 and then $100,000, we put you in these Skype groups, and you can see in this group, let me go to the six-figure group. So anyone in this group has made more than $100,000. And when you cross $100,000, we're going to invite you into this group. Okay, and this is where we have private conversations, where we can get feedback from you guys. We tell you like what we're rolling out, what's coming. And it's just a way that I can communicate with you, okay? So I'll post things like this. Like on Friday I posted, I said, just for a little bit of inspiration, last week we had Mike and Mike made over $178,000. Okay, that's for 7 days of promoting. You all know who Mike and Mike is? And by the way, you guys should know who all the top earners are. You should all be on their lists. Okay, you should go and find their pages, subscribe to their email list, and then get their marketing. Every single one of you. It's very important. You want to look at what are the top earners doing, not what they say they're doing, but what do they actually do. Often what they actually do versus what they say they do are very different things. Okay, very different things. So you want to observe, what do they actually do? How do they market? Stephen Bransfield, over $62,000. Zach Crawford, over $24,000. So these are the kind of things I post in this group. But anyway, there are 85 people in this group. Some of them are admin. So what separates these 85 people from everyone else? Let's actually start talking about the differences. And I'm going to write these out. The first difference is bias for taking action. Okay, let's talk about that for a bit. The people who go on to make a lot of money in Mobe, believe it or not, it's not mainly due to intelligence. That's the first thing I want to get out of the way. So if you think that these 85 top earners all have a much higher IQ than you, they don't. In fact, there's some in there who could be borderline below 100. No offense to them. And I consider myself, my IQ, I don't know what it is, but it's probably average, okay? In school, I never got exceptional marks. You know, so I certainly don't consider myself to be any genius or anything like that. I'm just a average intelligence. So it's not intelligence. It's not experience. Okay, it's not technical experience. If it came down to your technical knowledge, then the computer people, the programmers, would make the most money in Mobe. If we look at all the top earners in this group, most of them are not technically that savvy at all. So you got people like Carolyn and Nguyen, Chris and Susan Beasley. I mean, Chris and Susan, they'll tell you right to your face that they're not technical people one bit. And they made over $200,000 in Mobe. Chris Cobb, not a technical guy. Drew Innes, definitely not. So a few of them are, but many of them don't have a lot of technical experience whatsoever. So what is it? The first thing that I think it is, it's buyers for taking action. Guys like Stephen Bransfield, who are making over $100,000 per month, the advantage that he has is that when he came into this business at the age of 20, right, when he first got into internet marketing, he was very naive and very ignorant. He hadn't yet gone through decades of life experience and been taught that he couldn't succeed on a very high level. So he was very naive and ignorant about that, as was I when I started, because I started when I was 22. So when you haven't been through life's knocks and you haven't had that experience of being in a job and being repeatedly told that you're only worth a certain amount, that can actually be a tremendous advantage. Okay, so someone like Stephen, he got started and he just started taking action from day one. He started going and placing ads. He started making a lot of mistakes. He would place ads, have them fall flat. He was setting up lead capture pages. He was learning how to write copy, but he was just taking action. And I know you all hear that. You've all heard that a million times before. And it just, at this point, it probably sounds cliched. Everyone says to you, take action, take action, take action. But unless you really are taking action, you're not going to make any money in this business. Okay? So you've got to have a bias for taking action. Now, how do you tell the difference between someone who's got a bias for taking action and the majority who do not? It's very simple, and I can see it. I can see it usually straight away when we do these live events. Here's how I see it. I tell you how to do something, and then I watch who actually goes and does it. Okay, and normally when we're doing a training, we could have maybe 30 people in this room, and I might teach something like, here's how to go and do a webinar. And if people are left to their own devices and they aren't given any extra incentive, maybe 5 of them actually go and do it. You know, that's just amazing, because when you think about it, this is not, everyone in this room, this is not a standard sampling of our population, is it? Because anyone who gets into this room has filtered them out themselves from the masses, because they've spent money to be here. They've gone on a plane and flight here. So they are very qualified. But even amongst the most qualified audience, you can still have a very small minority, maybe just 10%, who go and take action. So that's the very first thing that you need if you want to get to 6 figures. You have to have a bias for taking action. Now, the next really important question is, well, what kind of action? Okay, what kind of action? If your bias for taking action is to go and watch information products and watch course after course after course, that doesn't really count. That's better than doing nothing, but at a certain point, that's about as valuable as doing nothing. So you have to make sure that you're actually taking the right action. So learning, filling your head with more and more and more information, at a certain point, that becomes completely redundant. Okay, you need to stop doing that. Do you know how many information products that I watch these days? Like how many do you think? How much of my day do you think I spend learning and studying? Less than maybe 5%. And that's not because I think I know everything, or I think that I don't have anything left to learn. I have, you know, I'm always thinking how little I know, how much more I have to learn. There's still a lot more I have to learn. But I am so busy taking the right actions in my day that I don't have time to sit there for an hour, log into a course and watch videos. That to me, I just don't have time to do that. From the moment that I wake up and I go and sit at my computer, I'm just focused on taking actions which actually bring in the money. That's what I'm focused on. I'm focused on what is going to bring in the money in the shortest amount of time possible, and I'm just going to go and do those things. Okay, so that's where I'm 100% focused, and that's how you've got to be. So when it comes to taking the right actions, let's first of all define what are the right actions. First, I'm going to ask you guys, I want to see how much you know, and then I'm going to tell you what I think they are. So you tell me, what are the right actions? What are the actions which will actually bring in money and get you to 100,000 this year? Say that again. Okay, implementing you learn, but more specifically than that, what activities, when you sit down at your computer, will bring in money? That's why you're here. Well, all right, that's a good answer. You will find that out. Placing advertisements. Okay, yes. So that's the first thing, right? Getting to your first $100,000 in this business. The most important thing you guys can all be doing as of right now is placing ads. That is the number one thing, because that is what brings in the revenue. But that's also more important at this stage than the revenue is the knowledge. The knowledge is far more important than the short-term revenue. The knowledge is worth a lot more. Okay, so when you go and place an ad, let's say it's on Facebook, and you go and spend $100, and you go and get 45 clicks, and you get 23 leads from that, and you get no sales. You've got some really good information then. You've figured out, okay, this is what I got for $100. This is what my cost per click was. This is what my cost per lead was. Now you've got experience. And now the really valuable thing is, when you go and study another course on placing ads, now it actually means something, because you have real life experience to relate it back to. But if you have no real life experience placing ads, knowledge is especially useless at a certain point, because you're just getting more and more knowledge, but you can't relate it to anything. It's like if you wanted to learn an instrument. Who here plays an instrument, or at some point in your life you did play an instrument? What would you play? What instrument? Piano. I used to play piano too. What are you guys? Drums. Okay. So whatever instrument you guys learned or attempted to learn at some point in your life, would you agree that if you just go through the theory books, you learn how to read music, but you never actually go and practice and make the mistakes and have it sound terrible and then have to make adjustments, you wouldn't learn anything. So the way that you learn the instrument is you go and actually do it. You're terrible at it when you start, and you can hear that you're terrible at it. Everyone in your house can hear that you're terrible at it. Your neighbors probably can too, but you make adjustments. I started playing the piano when I was 8 years old, and I was terrible at it when I started, but I would practice every day. And I got pretty good at it. I did it for about 5 years. I would put in about an hour a day. And I started going to contests at some point. I started doing well. But it was just constant daily practice, making mistakes, having an ear to actually hear your mistakes, and then making adjustments. This is no different, right? So I see so many people get started in internet marketing, and they're like that person who wants to learn a musical instrument, and they spend all of their time just studying and reading music books, but they never go and play. You have to play, you have to make the mistakes, you have to sound terrible at it. In other words, you have to place ads where you make no money, and then you make adjustments. Without that, I mean, you've got no hope. You've got no hope of making $100,000 a year if you can't even go and place ads. So who among you right now has gone and placed a paid ad in the last 7 days? Last 7 days, be honest. If you haven't, put your hand down. But in the last 7 days, have you placed a paid traffic ad? Okay, keep your hand up. Let's go with you. How much did you spend and what channel?
IMF, and I spent $50 a day.
$50 on what channel? Like Facebook or?
Oh, sorry, Facebook.
Facebook, all right. So you were doing Facebook ads, $50 a day.
Right.
For how many days, and how much did you spend up total?
It was 15 days. I did 15 days up to the IMF,
Okay.
and I paid $50 a day for that, and I got 12 people who said they were going to go.
12 registrations?
Yes, I believe so, because I'm having trouble with my numbers.
Okay.
And I got 280 leads.
So it sounds like you got 280 registrations. Were you sending the traffic to your IMF registration page or a page you created?
page I created.
Okay, so they would opt in there, and then you would take them to the registration page?
Yes.
Okay, so you probably don't want to do that because you add in the unnecessary step.
Yeah.
But that's okay because now you know,
Yeah.
right? You've learned the lesson because you actually went and did something. So that's good. So you were spending $50 a day for 15 days. That means you spent about $750.
Right.
And you got, how many leads did you say?
I think it was 278 or 284.
Let's call it 300. So if
Yeah.
you spent 750 and you got 300 leads, that's about $2.50 per lead, right? Do we all agree on that? $2.50 per email lead. So if you now market to those leads daily and you present offers to them daily, that's not so bad, paying $2.50 per lead.
Okay.
Are you emailing them every single day with offers?
No, I'm
All right,
not
so that-
doing my follow-up.
Okay, that's what you've got to do next, and that's
Yeah.
the next thing, right? Follow-up. It's placing ads and then doing daily follow-up. This is where the big money is made, these two activities. Okay, so that's great. Who's next? Sabrina? How much did you spend in the last 7 days, and what were your results?
Well, in the last 7 days, it's a solo ad that I set up, so it hasn't run yet.
Okay, how
But,
much did you spend?
It's 325.
325.
Yeah, this is the
Okay.
third one I've done with them, and I average about 200 to 230 opt-ins with each one.
Okay, for each one. So you spend 350, you get about 200 opt-ins. Okay,
Yeah.
good. And who's the solo ad vendor that you're buying from?
Igor?
Igor. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Who's next? I want to hear what have you spent in the last 7 days and what results.
So I spent a total of $200 over 5 days for the IMF. I got 7 leads and 0 registrations.
Okay, say that again. You spent $200
$200 over 5 days.
on what channel?
Facebook.
Facebook. Okay.
0 registrations.
Where
7.
where were you driving the traffic to? To what page?
Well, I was driving it to a landing page that entered their email and then the registration page.
So you had created this landing page.
Yes.
Okay, and not a single person opted in
Yeah, 7 opted in,
Oh.
but 0 registered for the IMF.
for the next page.
hmm
Okay, how many clicks did you get? Do you know roughly?
That I don't know.
Okay. Well, let's find that out. That should be your first question, because if you only got 7 leads, well, if you got, say, 21 clicks to that page, 1 out of 3 of them opted in, and that's about right. And then, maybe the problem's the ad. Not enough people are clicking, or it's the audience. The audience is not interested in what you're promoting. But if you got 100 clicks and only 7 opted in, then your lead capture page doesn't work. It's not an irresistible offer. So when you guys go and spend money and place an ad, remember what I said. The real prize is not so much the revenue in the early stages. The real prize is the information, the knowledge that you get. Okay, knowledge from experience versus knowledge from theory. Okay, and then it's just a matter of making adjustments. That's how you get to $100,000. You go and take a lot of action, you go and place ads, you go and lose money in a lot of those places, but you make adjustments, and because you're doing so many different things, some of them actually work. Some of them work, and then you redeploy your resources, your energy, your time into the few things which do work, and then you scale up. And that's how you get to $100,000. But the masses, the majority of people, never go and do anything. Right? Because here's the fact. When you go and place ads and you're doing these things, which actually bring in money, you might go and do 20 different things, and you might only have one thing actually work. When I started in this industry, when I was like many of you right now, just starting out and not with not a lot of money in my bank account from the online business, I tried so many different things. I tried printing off flyers and putting them at the shopping center, okay, on the little community service board. I tried walking around my neighborhood, handing out little flyers, putting them on people's windscreens, putting them in mailboxes. I tried opening the phone book and calling businesses. I remember calling a pizza business and trying to recruit them into my business. That's how desperate I was. And that did not work very well. I tried buying leads, where I would go and buy a list of leads with phone numbers. I remember paying, I think it was $3,000 or $4,000, and I got a list of 700,000 people who had expressed interest in a MLM or network marketing program. The list was completely garbage. Okay, none of the phone numbers matched up with the names, and this person was finding all the distributors in this company, calling them and selling them the same list over and over and over again. So I tried so many different things like that, and I'm sure if I ask you guys now, I'm sure you've all gone and tried a few things, but the more things you try, the faster you will get to those few things which actually work. Okay, so maybe for every 20 things you go and try, maybe you'll find one which actually works, one that actually brings in money, results in a sale. But you have to go and do those 20 things, right? So this really is the biggest difference. And I know it sounds obvious, but it's all about taking action and taking the right actions. Yes. Okay, good question. How do you know what ad to place? Well, in the beginning, you're either going to learn through trial and error, or you are going to get a course or pay for someone's time and have them show you, but then actually go and do it and get some experience. Okay? But the shortest answer and probably the most useful answer would be look at what the top earners are doing, go and look at their ads, and then model them very closely. The first time I ever got a big success in this industry, it was 2009, and I was not doing so well. Spent over $40,000 in the business. I was trying Google AdWords. I was getting some leads here and there, but I couldn't convert them when I talked to them on the phone. I was building my list. I'd built my list up to maybe 1,000 subscribers, but I was making no money from it. So I went and found the number one earner in that company, and he was making, I think, $1.1 million per year. I don't know what he was netting. He might have been netting 60% of that, but he was making $1.1 million in commissions. And he was doing something different to everyone else. Everyone else in that company was generating a lead, calling them back, putting them on a recruiting webinar, a sales webinar that night, and then following up and collecting a decision. That's what we were all told. This guy was doing something different though. He had created a lead capture page to a sales page and was selling a product for about $30. Okay, and that product was a recording of the recruiting webinar. He had taken Think and Grow Rich, the book, and put that into his product. I don't know if he had permission to do that or not, but he'd bundled in a bunch of these courses into this $30. And then he would call back the buyer lead. So the rest of us were wasting time calling back every lead we could get, unconverted lead, and we would have very low conversion ratios. We might put 20 people on the webinar and be lucky to get one sale. He was calling back buyer leads and then putting them onto the webinar. It's very different. To get to that point of having the front end product and then having the webinar and then having the business plan, it was just a process of trial and error. I tried hundreds of different things. Okay, I tried lots of different places to go and advertise. Well over 95% of it didn't work. Okay, didn't work. Once I figured out what did work, then it was just a matter of going and doing those exact same steps over and over and over again. So for you guys, to get to your first $100,000, it's going to come down to how many mistakes are you willing to make. Okay, how many mistakes are you willing to make? If you're someone who's very hesitant to make mistakes and you don't want to make any mistakes, and you're always treading very carefully out of fear for making mistakes or losing money, that's going to hold you back. Okay? And we're taught not to go and make mistakes, right? We're taught that in our education system, and your entire upbringing teaches you don't go and make mistakes. Don't go and take a risk and make mistakes. You have to unlearn all of that, because as an entrepreneur, it's the complete opposite. The most successful entrepreneurs in the world are the people who are willing to go and make a lot of mistakes. Okay, they're willing to put themselves out there publicly and make a lot of mistakes. And they they end up, through making a lot of mistakes, finding the very few things which work. And like I said before, then they redirect their time and energy to those things. So when I asked you guys, 15 minutes ago, I said, who's gone and placed an ad in the last 7 days? I need to see all of your hands up. Okay, moving forwards. You can't be one of those people not going and spending money on traffic. Even if it's $5 a day, that's better than nothing. Okay, spending $5 a day to actually go and do something is much better than nothing. But if you're not putting money on the line every day to go and place ads and figure out what works, what doesn't, and testing, you're going to have a very hard time getting to $100,000. Yes?
Is it wrong to think that you can place ads other than on the internet?
No, not at all. Not at all. Give me some examples of where you're thinking.
I was thinking of looking into having a magnet made and putting it on my vehicle and my daughter's vehicle and their father's vehicle.
Okay, having a magnet made?
With advertising Mobe.
Okay, and putting that on your car? Mm-hmm. You could do things like that, and they might work. Is it scalable? Is it going to get you to $100,000?
Well, I'm thinking if you're out and about and you have your family out and about.
Right. No, I understand, because I used to try and do those things myself when I was starting out.
And I'm not just saying just doing that.
Right.
Also learning how to get it in the internet too.
Right. You can go and try it. I know people who do that. I know people, for example, who will get a really nice car once they've got some earnings and they've really built up. They will go and get a really nice car, paint a big sign on it, and they will have their car be their advertisement. Now, when you're starting out, maybe you just get a sticker and put it on. It's going to come down to exposure, how many people see it. It helps if you have a nice car, because if you're driving a car like I was in 2009, I was driving a $200 car. So if I make a CEO level income on my car, that's not going to work so well.
I was thinking of really using my daughter's because we just purchased a 66 Mustang.
Yeah, I mean, that might be nice. So it's going to come down to visibility, how many people see it. Okay. But is that a scalable way to grow your business? Not really. It might get you the odd sale here and there, but I wouldn't say it's scalable. Now, in the very beginning, doing things like that is far better than doing nothing. Okay, and I'll tell you why, because sometimes those things will work. For example, when I used to hand out flyers and put them on windscreen wipers, I think I only ever made like 2 sales from that, and I handed out probably thousands. But one of the sales ended up upgrading later on, and I made $1,000 on the back end. So sometimes those things can work. Okay, sometimes, yes, they absolutely can work.
Am I able to use the Mobe logo?
Probably not. I'd rather you don't do that.
Okay.
And don't advertise Mobe. Go and advertise yourself in your own website. Here's the other part of the answer though. When you do things like that, you know what you're doing? You're building up your story. Okay, you're building up your story. A big part of this business, guys, is building up your story of transformation from point A to point B. So when you have a story of, I started out in this industry and I tried all these different things which didn't work, and then I discovered the few things which actually do work, that's very useful in your story. That's very powerful. Very often you will see me in my marketing for Mobe, I always talk about, back in 2009 I did this, I did that. Have you all heard me say those things? Many times. You probably know the story very well because I tell it all the time. But the reason why I tell it is because it's a story of transformation from point A to point B, a rags to riches story. And all of the great marketing stories follow that structure. It's a journey. Okay, I went on a journey. I used to be just like you. Okay, just like your prospect. I used to be just like you, frustrated, tired, sick of these different things. I went and tried all these different options, and then finally I discovered the one thing which worked. If you look at all the great marketers in the weight loss industry, for example, that's what their story is. Every single one of them. Have you all seen Mike Cheng, six-pack shortcuts? You all seen that guy on YouTube? No? I'm surprised. I see him all the time. Like I think I'm being retargeted. Yeah, Mike Cheng, six-pack shortcuts or something like that. So this guy makes big money. He sells his information products and then he sells his supplements on the back end. I don't know what kind of numbers he's doing, but I'd say they're doing over $30 million a year, something like that. But all of them, all of the weight loss marketers, that's their story. I used to be overweight. Here's a picture of me. I tried all these different diets, these exercises. None of them worked. And then I discovered this one. And now look at me. Now look at my results. It's the same thing in this industry. Make money. Okay, the best marketers in the make money space, it's always, I used to be broke, I used to be tired, I wasn't getting results, and then I discovered the secret system or the secret training or whatever it is, and now I have these results. So when you go and do things like that, like place a sticker on your car, in reality, you might get lucky and you might get your next diamond from it and make 20 grand. It's extremely unlikely though. It's unlikely because, number one, you need to have a great ad. So if you don't know how to write a great ad, it's going to take trial and error and experience to learn how to do that. Okay? You need to have a lot of people see it. And it's not going to bring a lot of sales. But it will add to your story. Because 1 year from today, provided you take action on everything you learn here in the next 5 days, you could be doing very well. You could be making 100 grand. And a big part of your whole marketing spiel will be, hey, not that long ago, I was trying all these different things. I was putting magnets on my car. I was handing out flyers. I was buying solo ads. None of it worked. Okay, and then I discovered this, and this works. People buy into that. They love to buy that transformational journey. But most people in this industry do nothing. So they have no story. They never build up a story, and they never have any failures because they're too scared to fail and make money and make mistakes and lose money. But in the process, they never build that transformational story. So one of my biggest assets as a marketer is that I spent the first 2.5 years from late 2008 to 2011 not making much money. I had a really tough time getting started in this space. I'd quit university. I was doing it full time. I'd gone and rented out an office. I was spending money faster than I could make it. So I was always broke, always not able to pay my rent, my food. I was living like week to week for 2.5 years, getting government assistance. I'd get $435 every 2 weeks, driving around old cars, a $200 car, and then I upgraded to a $400 car. But that was my life for 2.5 years. But that story is very powerful because now I can tell that story and I can relate to the masses in this industry. When I tell that story, many of the people out there hearing the story, they think, wow, Matt at some point, he was struggling just like me. And now he's doing really well. He knows how to get from point A to point B. He's been through what I'm going through right now. And that's the most important thing in marketing, is that your prospect feels like you understand where they are today. If they don't feel like you don't understand where they are, they're not going to buy from you. Because the big objection in their mind is always going to be, well, this person doesn't understand me. They don't understand my circumstance. All of your prospects, they all think their circumstance is unique. They all think the same thing. Like if I'm at one of our live events, one of our superchargers, I'll always have people come up to me and they'll say, you know, Matt, I get it, you're teaching us how to do all of these things, but my situation's different. You know, I've got my parents who are sick who I have to look after full time. I've got this mortgage. I just went through a messy divorce. I've got this, I've got this, I've got that. I've got to work 12 hours a day in my job. I don't have time to build a business. I'm not like all these other top earners. My story is different. Everyone thinks that their story is unique. And in reality, just about every single one of our top earners, they have had an element of everyone else's life, like, you know, they've had to work 12-hour days or more, or they've gone through a divorce, or they've got sick parents. So everyone thinks they have this unique story. What happens is when you can tell your story of transformation and all those things that you are tempted to do, like placing the magnets on the cars, handing out flyers, getting ripped off online where you send $1,000 to someone for a solo ad and they run away with your money. All of those things, when you tell them in your story in the future, some of them, the masses will be able to relate to. Some of the people over here will have spent money on solo ads and got no results. Some of the people on here will have tried things like handing out flyers or writing ads on their car, and they will grab onto those little elements in your story, and they will be able to relate to you. And they will feel that, wow, this person gets where I was. At some point, they were where I was. That's the first sale that you've got to make. Okay, the first sale to make is, I'm just like you. Okay? So maybe write that one down, but that's what it is. When you're marketing to your audience, the business that we're marketing here is transformation. Financial freedom and transformation. Going from where you are, broke, not making enough money, tired, overworked, we're selling the transformation of, no, you can have everything you want. You can have freedom in time, work your own hours. You can have freedom to be your own boss. You can travel. You can live the good life, right? That's the big promise, okay? That's the big potential here. And that's really what we're marketing at the end of the day. Personal transformation, financial transformation. So having that story where you can talk about all the things you tried to do in the beginning to build your business is essential. It's very important. Who has been struggling at this for more than 6 months? Be honest with me. More than 6 months. Okay, more than 1 year. More than 2 years. Okay, more than 3 years. Okay. You might not feel like it right now. And it's funny because I remember when I was going through the struggle, I saw somewhere, Perry Marshall, this marketer, he said, I was reading some newsletter and he said, one day today's struggles, today's frustrations will become your greatest marketing assets. And I remember reading that and thinking, oh, that's great for you to say, Perry, you're successful, you're making over $1 million a year, but it doesn't feel like this is an asset right now. This feels painful. I'm not making any money here. But he was very right. Those struggles that you're going through right now, they will become very powerful marketing assets in the future. When you can tell those stories in your videos, your webinars, in your emails, that's what people will be able to relate to. They will become, they're worth a lot of money, even if you don't believe that. Okay, so let's get back on track. We were talking about activities which actually bring in the money. Placing ads, okay, and we'll get more specific on this in just a moment, which ads and where, and then follow-up. When we're talking about follow-up, we're talking about generating an email lead, okay, building your email list, and then following up relentlessly to them every single day. Let me just get some feedback from you guys. You tell me, where are you at in terms of building your list? We'll just go around and just tell me, do you have a list? I'm not talking about a list of buyers in your Mobe back office. I am talking about email subscribers and an email autoresponder. So let's start down here, just maybe pass the mic down, and just tell us, how many do you have? How did you build the list? And how often do you email to them? Okay, so how many do you have on your list right now?
I have about 432.
Yep.
I got the majority of them from solo ads.
Okay.
Way back in December and January.
All right.
I purchased 2 sets of 21 We Sell Good traffic. I've received the first 21.
Okay.
And I think I have about close to 1,000 Facebook followers. But
All right. But
I
how often?
followed up on 0.
No. How often do you email your subscribers? Why?
I'm afraid, I don't know. Should I put? You say, put your name, give them your phone number. I'm just not extrovert enough.
Okay. When you got these email subscribers, what was your intention to do with the list? Were you intending to follow up, or were you hoping to make a sale when they opted in?
I was hoping to make a sale. I knew I needed to get those names, so that was important to me. I was wanting to build my list, but until I had a traffic coach, I really didn't know what to do.
Okay.
I did know there were the 7 follow-up AWeber emails. I created them, but these names were not in AWeber, and I have a whole lot of mental things. If I hit a roadblock, then I spend a lot of time trying to figure it out instead of, like you say, just taking action.
Okay. And what are you using for your autoresponder? Did you say AWeber?
Yeah.
Do you know how to send a broadcast?
I do now,
Okay.
but I still haven't done it.
I want you to do it right now. While we're talking, I want you to open that up, go to your AWeber. We're just going to send one out right now. I don't care whether it's a 5-line email. I want you to do it. So go into your AWeber as we're going through. Go to your broadcast, pull up a broadcast, and write a very quick email. The email is just going to be, say who you are, say, I'm sorry, it's been a while since I emailed you, and I'm at this workshop learning a few things. If you're interested in getting some of what I'm learning, message me back. Something along those lines. Okay, so that's the first thing. You've got to realize that when people opt into your list, at most, I would say at the very most, you might get, of all the buyers you're going to get from those leads, 440, you said 440 on AWeber. Okay, great. So let's call it 400. So the 400 leads that she's got from solo ads, of all the sales there are to be made from the 400, and maybe there's only 3 or 4, okay, which would still be very good. Let's say there's 4 sales. You're going to get, at most, I would say at most, 10% of those buyers on that first interaction. Okay, so when they opt in and then they see the sales video, of all the buyers in that group of 400 people, less than 10% of that buyer group will buy on the first exposure. The rest of them will need to be followed up with. They're going to need to see multiple exposures, okay, again and again and again. So when you're not emailing them, when you guys do not follow up with your leads daily, you're leaving over 90% of the money on the table at a bare minimum. I would say easily above 90%. So all the money that's sitting there waiting to be got from people who want to take action, people who want to buy, and people who you're almost robbing them of not being able to make a change, because they want to make a change in their life. You have what they want, and you're not presenting them. It's almost doing a disservice to them for you not to market to them. That's how you have to learn to think as well. That's the truth. You're leaving a lot of money on the table there. So you've got to be following up daily, every single day. If you are not following up daily, every single day with your emails, and you start doing that every day after this event, and you do that every single day for the next year, the 15 grand you spent to be here would be money very, very well spent, if that's all it did. If all it did was to change that behavior of you not following up daily, and you do that for the next year, it'll be money well spent. Okay, you'll actually be able to get an ROI if you actually go and do it, and you get good at your emails. Okay, so let's go to the next person.
Okay, my list is tiny compared to hers, but I have 39 people on my list.
Okay.
23 of them are We Sell Good Traffic. The other 13 were from IMF opt-ins. Until I got my traffic coach, I wasn't sure what to do with the 13 IMFs, but I created one email and sent them out to those 13. And I know I need to do another one. Life got in the way.
Now, where did you get those 13 registrations from?
They were from my Facebook ads that I had placed for IMF.
How much money did you spend to get those 13?
Way too much. Around 1,500.
Okay, yeah, that is way too much.
It wasn't. Yeah.
Okay, and why did that not work out? Why did you spend 1,500 to get 13 leads?
I thought I'd get more. I was doing the act, keep at it, it'll pay off. Keep at it, it'll pay off.
Right.
I was at that mentality at that point. I only do this part-time, so I wasn't creating enough time to analyze and look to see what I was doing wrong.
Well, how many clicks did you get? Do you know roughly how many clicks you got to get the
I
13?
got over 10,000 clicks,
Wait a moment. So you spend how much on Facebook?
about around 1,500.
But for the $1,500 you spent, do you know how many clicks you got from the Facebook ads?
Around 10,000
No, it couldn't be 10,000 clicks.
clicks.
Might have been impressions, but it can't be clicks because you would normally pay closer to $1 per click. So to get 10,000 clicks.
Oh, well, maybe I'd have to look up my numbers.
Okay, so that's your homework in the break. I want you to go and open up your Facebook ads and tell me for that $1,500 you spent, how many clicks did you get? Because let me just talk about this for a second. It's great to take action. The fact that you went and spent $1,500 on Facebook ads, that's really, really good because most people never even get that far. It doesn't matter, but you got the knowledge, you made the mistakes, and again, it adds to your story. Because so many other people will go and do that in the future. And so 1 year from today, when you're telling your story of transformation, that's all going to be in your story. That's your rags to riches story. That's your personal transformation story. But I say to you guys, it's important you take massive action and do things, but at the same time, as you're taking action, you need to be analyzing the feedback you're getting. And that's your mistake here. That's the one thing you need to improve on. Because I can tell that you haven't looked at the clicks properly. You think you had 10,000 clicks, but I don't see how that's possible.
Well, I ran out of credit, so I didn't, I haven't been placing any Facebook ads.
Right, but you can still log in
I
and
can go
see how
back.
many clicks.
Yes,
So
I
that's what I want you to do.
Okay.
Because if you spend $1,500 and you learn a really valuable lesson, that's $1,500 well spent. It genuinely is. But if you go and spend $1,500 and you don't learn the lesson, you're just going to keep on doing that in the future. You're not going to learn anything, and that's going to leave you running out of money and not learning anything. So if you're going to lose money, at least learn the lesson in the process. Learn the lesson, and then it's money well spent. So, and then these subscribers you have, how often are you emailing to them?
The 13, it just occurred to me 3 weeks ago, maybe, I should be emailing these people. These are leads. It just,
Right.
that clicked about 3 weeks ago, and I spoke to my traffic coach, and I sent out one, and then it just occurred to me maybe last week that you should be sending more. So I
Yeah.
have to create more emails to put on them on the autoresponder.
Okay. Do you have
I
you've
have
got
to
your
do-
laptop here now? You know what I'm going to say. I want you to get an email right now. Okay. And when I ask you guys, are you emailing your subscribers? I already know that most people that we go through, I'm going to start to hear some of the same responses. I don't think that anyone here, maybe one or two of you, are doing emails every single day. Am I wrong in that? Who's doing an email every single day?
Well, when I put them on the autoresponder straight away,
Right.
22 days.
Okay, but after that, are you doing it every day?
Basically, everyone who gets my broadcast, which is Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay, so every couple of days. Who?
3 times a week as a rule.
Okay,
All set up.
but I want you to do that daily. You'll make twice as much money. Instead of 3 times a week, do it daily. And we'll get to you, and I'll find out why you're not doing it daily. Maybe you have a belief around that. Who else is doing it daily? So Sabrina, you're doing it every single day, without fail, every single day. So you write all 7 and then you load them up.
Yeah, and then I'll
Okay.
schedule them one a day.
Okay. All right. Now, if that works for you, that's good. Okay. I don't recommend that for the majority of you, because if you have to write 7 emails, it becomes this big thing in your mind. And even like if I had to sit down and write 7 emails, I don't know, I'd struggle with that. So I do it. I make it up as I go. That's what I recommend the majority of you do. You just do 1 every day. You have to set aside the time in your daily method of operation where you have a block of time, and that's your email writing time. And ideally, you do that early in the day. Never leave that to the end of the day, because then it'll get pushed back in the order of priorities. Again, if you guys started writing an email every day and you did that as the first thing in the morning, so let's say you wake up at 7 a.m. every morning. If you just got up half an hour earlier and you scheduled off a 30-minute block to write an email, you set a time and you said, I'm just going to write as fast as I can for 30 minutes, and you do that every day for the next year, this would be money well spent to be here in this room. That one little habit, that would be worth a lot. Okay. All right, next.
Okay, for me, because I'm not familiar with tracking leads and doing email responder, so when I did my Facebook ad, I actually drive the traffic directly to the Mobe page. So I didn't really keep track of anything other than on my Facebook ad, I just noticed how many clicks there are for the ad, which is actually not a lot.
Okay, so tell how many subscribers do you have on your list?
I didn't keep track of my list.
What are you using for your email autoresponder?
I haven't started using it.
Okay.
I'm still trying to figure out how to make it work.
Which one have you tried?
I got Get Response.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So have you logged in to get response?
I have logged in, but I'm still not familiar on how to make use of it.
Okay. Yeah. What is stopping you there? What are you not familiar with, or what are you not sure
What's
about?
stopping me is actually I'm not too sure in terms of the email content, how I should write it.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the major thing.
Do you
that's
know how to send a broadcast though? Do you know the steps to go through to send a broadcast?
I haven't tried that. I know it can be done. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you don't yet have an email list? Not
No.
yet?
No.
Okay. Do you have a lead capture page?
No, I didn't create that one. That was what I learned. When I was in Singapore having a supercharge, when I talked to one of the mentor, he was saying that I should have a landing page because I drove it directly into the Mobe page. I didn't create my own landing
Okay.
page.
Were you at the
Yeah.
supercharge just a few days ago in Singapore?
Yes, in
Wow.
Singapore,
So you
yes.
flew.
Yes,
When
directly.
did you get in?
I flew in directly on that night, the last day it finished. So,
Last night?
yeah, the last day it finished, on the night itself I flew in.
Well, okay, that's like me. That's a long flight. Okay, so your homework tonight, you need to get a lead capture page, you need to hook it up to get response, and you need to have that ready to place ads by tomorrow. Okay? And that's not hard to do. What are you guys teaching as far as ClickFunnels or Mobe sites? ClickFunnels. Do you have a ClickFunnels account?
Yeah, I subscribe to it according to what he requests us to do.
Okay, are you guys covering how to set up a lead capture page soon today or tomorrow? Tomorrow, okay. I want you to go and attempt to do it yourself. Go to ClickFunnels, follow their steps. They will walk you through it, but you go and do it first. Don't wait until tomorrow, because if you've gone and done it, again, you've got real life experience to relate the lesson to. You need to get a lead capture page, you need to have your autoresponder set up, and you need to learn how to use it. These are fundamental skills. They're basic skills, and you need to have them. All of you need to have them. And I know if you haven't done them before, they seem like this big, complicated thing,
Yeah.
but they're not. And I was in the same boat back in 2008, 2009. I too didn't know what to do. But it's a matter of you just go to the websites, follow their steps, and attempt it. You've got to actually figure it out. And then when you come back tomorrow, you'll actually be able to,
Okay.
you'll have it done.
Okay.
Okay? So that's your big thing.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks.
All right, next.
I'm in the same boat, but she's got more than I do.
Okay, so you don't have an autoresponder yet?
I don't have no landing page. I have no email list. I have no Facebook Academy account, I believe it is. And no ClickFunnel. No
Okay,
funnel.
you don't have ClickFunnels yet? Okay,
No.
so go and get ClickFunnels tonight.
Okay.
Okay, get your ClickFunnels account.
How do I go about that?
How do you go about that? What's our Mobe ClickFunnels link? Your assignments before
You know
you
what?
came
I
here.
did have it, but somehow I lost it. And that's why I hadn't communicated with you guys. Okay, so,
All right, so you need to go and find the assignment, and then follow the steps. Get your ClickFunnels account,
okay.
and get your lead capture page set up, and get your email autoresponder set up. It's really critical you guys do these things, because if you don't get them in place as soon as possible, you're not going to get the most out of the next 5 days. So that's your homework tonight, and then we can go from there. Then we can work with that.
So I need to get my funnel page and my capture page?
ClickFunnels,
Okay.
build a lead capture page, so follow their steps in ClickFunnels,
Okay.
and get your email autoresponder. Whether it's Aweber or GetResponse, it should be on the assignment. Okay, just pick one and just sign up to it. Okay, all right. So Sabrina.
I have about 1,800 on the list.
Okay.
Mostly from solo ads. They get an email every day, sometimes more. And what was the other questions?
Okay, so you email them every single day. And how many did you say you had?
About 1,800.
1,800. And what autoresponder are you using?
GetResponse.
GetResponse. Okay. Okay, and what kind of results are you getting? Like, tell me, how often do you make sales? What are your open rates for 1,800 subscribers? How many people open?
It's not high, like a couple percent.
What is it?
Sometimes a couple percent, sometimes less than that. When I send out my videos, I found I get a higher response on that.
Well, how many people open out of the 1,800, roughly?
It doesn't show people, it shows percentages.
Okay, and it's
So
about
it-
2%.
Yeah, so it'll say
All right,
just,
so 2% of 1,800 is what? 360? No, that's 20%. It's 36.
yeah.
36 people. Now, here's just a lesson I want to tell you guys. When you get 2% open rates, when you send out an email, that might look like a disaster to a lot of you. But it's actually not. Because here's how it works. This is your list, right? Can you all see that? This is your list. Okay. This is 1,800 people. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 1,800. So 2%, let's say that's 2% right there. That little portion is 2%. So when you send out an email and only 36 out of the 1,800, 2% open it, you might think, wow, I've got 98% of people who don't care what I'm saying, or they're not even reading. But in reality, the average person opens an email from you maybe one every 4 emails you send out. So the 2% you get today is going to be different to the 2% you get tomorrow. There'll be some crossover, but it will be quite different. And the next day, it's going to be different. Okay, and the next day, it'll still be different. So in reality, you might have 8%. You might have 8% of people out of 1,800, which is close to 160 people, who actually pay attention to what you're saying. Right? So you might have 160 people all up, and they don't read every single email that you send, but they do check it from time to time. Now, if you only email 3 times a week, the bad news is you're lucky if in this 8%, they see 1 email from you per week, at most, once a week. But if you email every single day, then at least twice a week, they're seeing you. So it's double the exposure for no extra cost. So really, in reality, you might have 8% of people paying attention. Now, that's 160 people roughly. That's a lot of people when you think about it. Okay, imagine out there on the grass, 160 people. There's some sales to be made there. There could be a few silvers in there. There could be a titanium in there. There's sales to be made in that group of people. So that's how you've got to look at it. And also just another lesson as well. When you guys are starting out and you have a subscriber list of less than 1,000 or less than a few hundred, some of you might think this seems pointless because I have so few people on my list that when I go to all this effort to make a video or to write an email and I send it out and only like 1% or 2% of people actually open it, you might think it's not even worth it. But how you do things at this level will be the same as how you do things at a much bigger level. So if you can't get the habits right at this stage, at this level, where you're doing daily emails, you're not going to have those habits when you get to 1,000 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers. So at this level, this is where you're learning all the right behaviors and habits. And when you get to the much bigger list in the future, that's where you're able to monetize it and make big money. Okay, and I'll just tell you as well, if your reason or your excuse for not emailing once a day is due to time or not having ideas, that's not going to get easier as you go, because as you build a bigger business, it's going to demand more of your time. Trust me on that, it will. So you can't be having those reasons for not doing it at this level. What all of you need to do is, again, you set aside a block of time every single day. It should be at the same time in the same location. Ideally, you should change up the location, and it's just for this one activity. Okay, so who here works from home? Who runs their business from their house? Okay, so for example, if you have a Starbucks nearby, every day you set aside the time to go to Starbucks, you take your laptop, and when you're at Starbucks, you give yourself 30 minutes, same time every day. Like let's say it's in the morning. And when you go to Starbucks, you associate that environment with writing emails, okay, creating an email from scratch. When you walk into that environment, if you do this enough, suddenly you will be able to switch into email writing mode. And you have to have a rule. You have to have a rule that you don't get distracted. So you might turn off your Wi-Fi, you might turn off your phone, but you have that environment that you go into at a set time of the day, and that's where you create your follow-up message. Okay? So that's really, really important. Okay, who's next?
I don't even know where to begin because I've had some life events occur.
Okay.
And so I'm just starting now. But I don't have time to go through all the videos and all the chit chat. I want to get right to the business end of things, and so I had paid for this back in March.
Yes.
And just haven't been able to do anything with what I want to do with this. And so the summit, or the mentoring here, and the pre-assignment of getting those funnels and all that is I'm missing a step in between. So I have a lot of catch up to do, but I'm here. I'm moving in action. I'm committed to getting this on track. I got derailed and I'm back. I'm here. So
Okay.
that's I'm not trying to use that as an excuse. It's my story though. So
Now, did you attempt to do the assignments? Have you gone and done any of the things like the ClickFunnels and lead capture pages?
I set them up and I've explored them, got a
Okay.
general idea, but I don't even have the personal identifier to put on the end of my landing page or whatever,
Okay.
so that I can direct it to myself. So I'm not like going to put all the work into that without having that segment of code to put on the end, so I can.
Right.
benefit
Okay, so
from
you're
it.
still in the process of setting up the lead capture page.
Right.
Yep.
I haven't done it yet. Right.
Okay, and same with the autoresponder?
Correct.
Okay, so
Everything.
that's what you've got to do tonight.
But I don't understand how I do that without having what is the code that an affiliate link? Yeah, I don't have
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So I'm jumping ahead of where I probably am at, but I already paid for this. I'm coming to this. I'm getting the information.
Okay. Well, look, in the assignment Martin, does it walk through how to do the ClickFunnels, or do they go to ClickFunnels and then follow the videos there?
Oh, well, I'm
Okay.
essentially there, so I almost have the assignment done already.
Okay,
so-
good. All right.
yeah.
So get those two things, and then tomorrow you'll set that up. But we need these two things. We need the autoresponder. We need the lead capture page, because without those, we
Right.
can't get people onto our list, and we can't market to them and make money. So these are two things we need. I don't mind one bit. Whatever it takes to get it done, the most important thing is we get it done here and as soon as possible. Okay, so the faster you guys get it done, the better. If you go and attempt to do it yourself tonight, that's great, because then you're going to make a few mistakes, learn something. When you come back tomorrow, then we can see, all right, where did you go wrong? We can make the adjustments. Yeah, if you guys are stuck with something like that, like not being able to log in or something, just go and find Venkata or Martin in a break and just say, hey, how do I do this? But speed is of the essence here, because the faster you do it, the faster we can get up and running and get some ads going, and help you guys get some results. That's the important thing. Okay, let's go to the next person.
I am more or less like the other three
Okay.
before. The thing is that I started in 2015, and I really didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't get guidance, or I should really put most of the blame on me. So I stopped,
Right.
and that's why I now decided to, when I lost my job, I decided now to come back and do this full time. And that's why I'm here, actually. That's why what I asked for was to be set up in the same way that we're doing right now. I did all the exercises that he is asked us to do, but they look like they're temporary at the moment. So so I'm hoping to actually now put them permanently on my.
Okay, so do you have a list yet or not yet?
No, I don't have a list yet.
Okay,
If
not
there's
yet.
a list, it will be from at the beginning when I started,
Okay,
because I did put through some ads on solo ads.
right. But what autoresponder were you using to build that list? Do you know?
I don't.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So you need to find that. If you have a list from the past,
Yeah,
find the autoresponder,
yeah,
log in,
yeah,
and then you got to get back into emailing every day.
yeah. Okay.
You've got to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I like what you said just then. You said you didn't have the guidance, but you said I probably should have gone and got help.
Yeah, sure.
Because, guys, like none of us have the guidance in the beginning. It's not up to someone to come along and say, here's the guidance. It is entirely on each of you to go and be resourceful
Yeah.
and figure it out
Yeah.
and find the people and say, how do I do this?
Yeah, sure.
So that's good that you're here now and you're taking responsibility for that.
Yeah, I have to.
Yep. So for you tonight, go do the assignments, but you need lead capture page and the autoresponder. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, if you guys get stuck, March and Venkata, are you going to be around a little bit tonight? Yeah, these guys will be around. So if you get stuck, don't stay in your room getting frustrated and all depressed about it. Just think, okay, I've tried this, didn't work, and then go and get some help. But the most important thing is you actually go and attempt to do it first. Okay, go and try and do it yourself first, and then come and get help. All right, who's next?
So I have done about 10 or so different campaigns on Facebook for Wi-Fi Millionaire.
Yep.
That has generated about 400 different leads.
Okay,
That then I got one buyer for.
that's great. Okay, so just tell me more about that. You did 10 campaigns, so like 10 different ads, different audiences.
So I tweaked it. So I first took one ad and tried 4 different audiences till I narrowed it down. And then I tweaked the ad and tested it against the one that was working with the audience. So I kept the audience the same. So I've been kind of tweaking and
Okay.
retesting to kind of make it better.
How much have you spent on those 10 campaigns?
On those, about $2,000.
Okay, all right. Over what period of time?
That was, when did I go to the Home Business Summit? Easter. Since Easter.
Okay, all right. So when is Easter again? I don't even know these
No,
days.
I was at the home, April.
April. Okay.
Okay, there you go. Since
I
April.
don't celebrate Easter. I eat the chocolates, but
I just know because it was my first time home in 10 years, and I was at the Home
Okay,
Business
all
Summit
right.
instead of with my parents.
all right. So you spent $2,000 on ads. You got one sale. Okay. How many leads did you get from that?
About 400, 450, somewhere in there.
All right. So guys, let's think about that. What's the cost per email lead? About $5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you all think of that? Does that sound okay? That's fine. All right. To pay $5 for an email opt-in lead is fine. And don't obsess over that too much. You could go and pay $10 for an email opt-in and have that be fine too. At the end of the day, I say this every event, this is the big thing. It's not so much about cost per lead, click-through rate, cost per click. These things are important, but the most important thing is how much did you spend, how much did you get back? That's what matters. Now, right now, you spent $2,000 and you got back $44.10. So that might look bad, but it's not so bad at all because you learned a lot in that process. I know you would have. You really would have. You built a list. Are you emailing to them every day?
So I did the 7 emails that my traffic coach told me to do. And then I have been sending emails of my own, but I've been doing every 2 to 4 days because that's what my coach recommended.
Who's
so
your
I'll
coach?
change that. Well, that was Brenda Gagne.
Brenda, okay. You know, there's different schools of thought about how often you should email your list. But all of you should ignore what they all tell you and just do what I say and just do it every day. You should, especially at this stage when you haven't yet made it, even your first $100,000 in this business. You should just be focused on you built this list and now your job is to extract as much cash out of the list while offering value. But that's how you do it, and it's just common sense that if you email every 2 days or you email every day, you're going to make twice as much emailing every day. One of my mentors earlier on, he used to make, his name is Dagan Smith, he used to make between $100,000 and $200,000 a month, okay, selling his own products. He would email twice a day, okay? He would email in the morning, he would email at night, every day, twice a day. And that was his business. His business was go and spend money to get email opt-ins. So he would do solo ads, he would do Facebook ads, all of that. And then his main revenue producing activity was sit down every morning, crank out an email. It might take him an hour to write a good email and get it out. And then at night, he would do the same thing. But every day it was 2 emails a day. Now, did some people complain on his list? Maybe they did. But the ones who complained were probably never going to buy from you in the beginning. So who cares what they think? The ones who do want to buy from you, they will look forward to 2 emails a day. I mean, if you're telling them good stories and you've got some good engaging content, they don't mind it one bit. And here's the truth. It's not like they're reading both emails every day. They might read one of those emails every 2 days. Okay, but if you only email every 2 days, they might only see you like once or twice a week. And that's not enough. Especially after they opt in. When someone opts into your list, you want them to be in front of your offer as many times as possible during the first 30 days. You want to be getting them back in front of that sales video, in your case, Wi-Fi Millionaire system. You want to get them back in front of that sales video at least 7 times, minimum. And you want to do that as soon as possible. So after they opt in within the next 30 days, that's the critical time. Because if they are going to buy, it's usually going to be within the first 30 days. Some will buy later on, but most of the activity takes place within the first 30 days. It's like this. Everyone who buys the 21 steps in Mobe, the L1 coach, the person selling silver and gold, if they don't make that sale within the first 30 days or within the first 60 days, the chances of them making a sale go down dramatically. Because I check the stats every day. Okay, and one of the things we look at is time to make a sale after they buy the $49 product. And within the first 60 days, we've got maybe over 85 to 90% of all buying behavior. If they haven't bought in those first 60 days, the chances drop dramatically. So one of the things we're always working on is how do we make that sale faster? Okay, but I'm just telling you guys, I mean, if you email every day, you're going to make more money. If you do it twice a day, you're going to make a lot more money. And all those reasons that you have for not doing it, they're not good reasons. You might think they are, but they're not. You might think it's going to annoy people, but it really won't. It might annoy just a few of them, but they were going to unsubscribe anyway. They were never going to buy in the first place. So you don't worry about those people. There's no good reasons for not doing it every day. No good reasons. Yep, you can. You've got something called Done For You email. So every day we have a copywriter write an email from you. I've been paying copywriters now to do this Done For You email service since 2011. We must have back there in your back office, there must be over 2,000 emails that all of you can go and cherry pick the very best ones You can tweak them so they sound like they came from you, and they're all back there. So, I mean, if you get serious about doing this, it doesn't need to take you more than 20 minutes a day to go and grab one of my old emails, tweak it, copy it, tweak it, paste, and send out. I mean, that's all you've got to do. It's in your back office. And if you don't know where it is, go and look tonight. If you still can't find it, tell us tomorrow and we'll show you. But you all have that available. There's no good reason not to be doing it. Okay, so that's good. So you spent $2,000, you got one sale. What step is that buyer on?
I don't know because that buyer's mixed in with the other buyers that I purchased.
Okay, so in
But
the
I've
new
been-
back office, you should be able, are you in the new back office yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so you should be able to log in and you should be able to see what step they're all on.
Yeah, I just don't know that particular one because that one's in with the other 42 that I purchased.
Okay, when you're starting out and your list of buyers is less than 50, as it is right now, you should be like micromanaging those steps. Every day you should be logging in and looking for movement. Did this person move from step 2 to step 3? Did this person move from step 4 to step 5? You should be watching that because that's everything. That's your business. And what you want to do is you want to help influence that. So if you notice someone's been stuck on step 2 for a week, chances are that person has lost contact with their coach. So now you want to send them a message, an email, right? And you, by the way, you want to start to prepare templates. So you write an email saying, hey, I wanted to introduce myself. I'm the person who introduced you to this program. I noticed you're stuck in step 2 for the last 7 days. I just wanted to check in, see how you're going with the program. Who's your coach? Is there anything I can do to help? So then copy that, save it on your computer so you don't have to write it next time, and send it out to that person. And then every time someone gets stuck in step 2, you're going to send them that message.
Yeah. My the buyers that I have, that's what I'm doing, and I also text them and put them in a Facebook group and call them if they're unresponsive to the other
Good.
things.
Okay, that's good. So you've got a Facebook group, you're doing that. Okay, that's great. Okay, so what you guys want to do is, first you're trying to get them to respond to you. So now there's an active line of communication. It's not just one way where you're messaging them and they never respond. So when they respond, now you want to always leverage the coach. Always put it back on the coach. So if they say, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do, you say, okay, I too had that when I was going through the steps, but what I did is I got in touch with my coach. I proactively reached out to my coach and I told them I was stuck and I got them on the phone. Have you tried doing that? Who's your coach? So you always just point them back to the coach. This is important because if you try and solve every one of their little challenges, in the back of their mind they start to think, oh, I'm going to have to do the same thing. And part of what sells this system is the fact that you don't have to get on the phone and follow up and do all the calls and all of that. So you always push them back to the system, the coach, and say that's one of the great things about this system. We have coaches who will help you with that. And when you start marketing the system, the great thing is you don't have to have all the answers because you'll have a coach assigned to your clients. That's what you do. Okay. So how much have you spent in the last 7 days?
In the last 7 days, how much have I spent?
Yes.
I've spent $200 in the past 7 days.
On what? On Facebook?
Yes.
For the IMF? Mm-hmm. Okay. What kind of results are you getting with that?
Those results I got 7 leads and 0 registrations.
Okay. So you're doing the 2-step thing as well. You're doing lead to registration.
Yes.
Why are you doing it that way? Why not just go directly to registration?
I was told that we couldn't, because it was a Facebook ad, that it couldn't go directly to the registration page.
Who told you that? Your traffic coach?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Brenda. Okay. What you can do is the registration form, where it's got name, email, and then choose what event,
Mm-hmm.
you can copy that form onto your lead capture page.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
And then that way they click, and then they register, and then they've registered for the event. So it goes from being 2 steps, 2 opt-ins, to being one step. Okay?
Okay.
So ask Brenda, say to Brenda tonight, say, hey Brenda, I'm at this mentorship, and Matt said there's a IMF registration form that I can embed on my lead capture page.
So she gave me that,
Yep.
but she told me to put it on the second page of my funnel. So they enter their email. So they go to my capture page, they enter their email, and then they go to that form.
Okay. The only reason she would probably tell you to do that is so you can be building your email list at the same time. Okay, because then you're building your list and then you're building the Mobe list when they register through the Mobe form. So that's fine to do, but if you've had 7 leads on the first step and then none on the second, that tells me one of two things. That tells me that you might be getting the wrong audience,
Right.
and for whatever reason they're not responding to the offer, or what's far more likely is what you promise on the lead capture page and then what you promise on the registration
Not
page.
translating.
It's not congruent, like it doesn't
Right.
flow from one to the next. So what you should have above the second form, or before they get to the second form, you say, wait, your registration is not complete. Okay? You've completed step 1 of 2. Now, next step 2 is to go and do this. And then always give them a reason why. Whenever you want them to act in marketing, give them a reason why. And the reason why is we need your physical mailing address so we can send you your tickets in the mail.
No. Would it be better to just cut that landing page out? Because if they register, I'm still going to follow up. Like, I can still go into my Mobe back office. And
You can, and you can copy and paste the
Right.
emails one-on-one into your list. You could do that. I think when you're starting out, that probably would be better because you're going to get more people registered. And
Right.
from Facebook traffic, you might have maybe 1 out of 10 of the people who register actually show up in person. 1 out of 10, maximum might be maybe 15%. Okay, so that means that in order to get a sale from Facebook traffic, expect maybe a 15% conversion when they show up in the room.
Right.
Okay, so that means we need to have maybe 150 people register. 150. And then maybe 15 of those, 10%, will show up in the room. Okay? And then of those 15, you might have 1 or 2 buy a Home Business Summit ticket. So you'll make on that $120 to maybe $240 for the 150 registrations.
Okay.
But every HBS buyer where you make $120 should be worth, on average, about $800 minimum in commissions after they show up to the Home Business Summit. Minimum. And if it's a really, really, really good Home Business Summit where we sell well, maximum, I mean, it can get up there to $2,500, $3,000 in commissions. So you're getting just 2 Home Business Summit sales. If they attend the Home Business Summit and it's a really good event, you know, you could make $5,000 from that. The last really good one we had Scott Zuckman. He was the speaker. Does anyone know Scott? Okay, a few of you have seen Scott, and he was in Philadelphia. And they had about 50 people in the room. The average person spent, I believe the number was $8,500. Okay, so in commissions, it was worth about $3,000. Now, most of the people in that room came from one person, one consultant. Who was that? Stephen Bransfield. Stephen Bransfield on that one, and I think he made about $80,000 that weekend. It's just a matter of getting enough people in the room. So, yeah, every time you get a Home Business Summit sale, you make $120, but the real value is the $800 up to maybe $2,000, sometimes a little bit more, when they attend the Home Business Summit.
Right.
And then, of course, over the next year, as they go to masterminds, as they go to superchargers, it's going to be more.
Matt, Jason Miller is was my traffic coach before he moved up.
Okay.
He said that he liked Get Response. So I got Get Response straight away before I did my funnels, and I actually got his wife set up the done for you funnels for me, the 3 squeeze pages, all through Get Response.
Okay.
After that, I did 5 solo ads, solo ad campaigns, total, and 1 leader package in We Sell Good Traffic
Okay.
as well. So about 440 leads altogether, subscribers altogether on Get Response. One thing that really infuriated me just recently, I found out that only about 350 of those never opened a single email. I found out, so I don't think that's right. And the other thing is they changed everything 2 months ago, and I recently just discovered, I think it just happened recently, that all of the landing pages were completely out of whack. So because it was very recent, I knew we were going to do ClickFunnels here. I just chose the one that's the least affected, and I'm using that, but it's not good. I've got to get new landing pages. So that's basically what's happened. And how many times do I email them? So basically, they give you the first 7 days. Erica does, and after that I did another 15, so 22 all up. I just kept adding emails, doing them and adding to the back end of it, so making
Okay.
it longer. So the 21 step buyers, they get put on. Sorry, the subscribers before the 21 steps, they get put on that list of 22 days, and also they get Monday. That's how Jason does it. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. At 1 o'clock, like a professional business, he said to me, just goes out my newsletters, my broadcasts. So first I was doing emails, and lately I've actually been doing quite a few videos of my own for my YouTube channel. So I actually share the email, and I share my videos. So that's what I'm
Okay.
doing. Yeah.
So you said about 440 on the list?
Yeah, subscribers. Yeah,
And why-
including
why-
the 21. The 21 We Sell Goods traffic. Yeah.
Why you said you had like 330 not opening? Do you know why?
About 350. I only just found out, like, literally recently, and Get Response told me delete them because they're ruining your chances. Like, apparently something about when a lot of emails don't get opened.
Yeah, it affects your deliverability.
It affects that's right, the deliverability. So they said the best thing to do is to delete them. I haven't done anything. I've held off until I came here.
Okay, but did you go, or this is what you should do, go back to those 350 and go into the individual records and check the history. So when did they opt in?
Yeah.
Have they been getting all of your emails? You should be able to see that in their individual records.
You mean if it's been delivered to them?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. So
Right.
you should be able to go and click on their individual address, email address,
Yeah.
and then see all the behavior. Okay? And figure that out. Maybe they didn't get emailed for like 30 days. What can happen, guys, if you don't email your list, if you don't keep it warm, this is why it's so important to be consistent. Your list, they will forget about you pretty quick. They'll forget who you are, or they will lose interest very quickly.
They didn't get emailed for 30 days. How do you mean? Because I've been emailing them all the way through.
I'm just saying there's a possibility. I might
Yeah.
be wrong, but that's why I want you to
Yeah.
check.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't choose that segment they were in, or something like that.
Mm.
There's some reason, and then find out where did they come from.
Yeah.
Did they come from this particular solo ad vendor? Did they come from this group, this ad source?
I wouldn't have a clue how to track that because
Okay.
they were all coming in through my main landing page, which I'm not using anymore because it was all stuffed up with. Even Jason told me he stopped using them 2 months ago for landing pages.
Okay.
Yeah. Before that, they were fine. They just changed a few technical things and everything got stuffed
Alright.
up. So
So every time you guys go and place an ad, and you intend to spend some decent money, like you intend to go and spend a couple grand maybe on Facebook ads, create a new lead capture page. This doesn't need to take you more than 15 minutes. Duplicate the one you have, okay, and create another one. And then go to your autoresponder and change something in the form so you can track exactly from this traffic source how many people opted in. Okay, and then that way, in the future, if this ever happens again, you can go and pinpoint what's the course. Maybe it's this one traffic vendor who sold me a bunch of fake email addresses. Okay, you'll actually know. But you need to be tracking from which traffic source did the leads come from. And if you don't know how to do any of this, Don't worry, because when we all start, none of us do, but you've got to go and figure that out. Again, that's one of those fundamental basic skills which you learn how to do, which when you don't know how to do it seems like this incredibly complicated thing, but you need to learn how to do these things. Because in the future, when you start spending much bigger money and you start making bigger money, you have a lot more on the line. Like every time I go and spend money on traffic, and we'll spend close to $1 million a month, every single month on traffic, I know exactly where the buyers come from. So every time I get a diamond sale from my own traffic expenditure, I know exactly where did I get that sale from. Okay, and every week I get reports, and my reports show me what's the ROI on every single traffic investment I made in the last 6 months. You don't need to get reports every week at this stage when you're starting out, because you're probably spending less than a few $1,000s a month. But you should have a gut feel for what's working and what's not, because you're actually tracking. Okay? All right, good.
One last thing I just wanted to say. You were saying to email every day, and one of the reasons I suppose that, well, apart from the fact that I got recommended to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, one of the reasons probably why I don't email every day, apart from those who are going through the 22 days, is I don't really have much confidence in my autoresponder. Either the autoresponder program, I don't have much confidence in GetResponse,
Okay.
or my sequence, or both, basically, because
Well-
I haven't had much conversion from that.
Well, that's easy. GetResponse you can have a lot of confidence in, because that's a major, big, massive company. I used to use them for years. They're fine. The problem is not with GetResponse. As far as the follow-up sequence, it's really easy. Set up your sequence, take 2 minutes to go and create a brand new Gmail address, opt in, and then check. Do the emails go out every day? Check in the new email address.
I did that.
Yep.
Always straight to spam. That's the one thing I noticed. And the
Okay.
reason I've got a G Suite email, a G Suite that I use with them as well. And the reason it says there is because of that email that it comes from that they use, the outgoing server, whatever that GetResponse uses, is very known for spam.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's going to be something that you're probably doing. It's some words in the email, likely. That's what it is. Maybe some words you have in that email are triggering the spam filters.
Okay.
Maybe some links. What link are you promoting?
Well, originally I was promoting the $7 TTSI.
Okay.
Recently I've changed it to the Wi-Fi Millionaire. Remember, the first 7 emails were done for me by Erica.
Right.
So you would hope that they're using the right words, yeah? The only link was to the TTSI originally. Now I think in the first email I may have added my story, which I've uploaded on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that's about
go
it.
and check those seven emails. What I want you to look for is just, is there anything that stands out that could be triggering a spam filter? So for example, if you have, like in capitals, free money making system, or something like see the system which made him $88,000 in 2 days in the subject line. Things like that which are obvious, which would trigger spam filters,
Yeah.
you might want to adjust those. Another thing you can do is in those first few emails, you add the instruction to go and add your email address as a contact. Okay? The other thing you can do is on your thank you page, after they opt in, on the thank you page, tell them to go and check their spam folder, because sometimes your emails will go there. Another thing you can do is move to double opt-in. So they opt in, and then they have to go and confirm. Okay, but it's just a matter of making adjustments. You just got to make those adjustments. And I used, before we got our more, our bigger, fancier autoresponder, which I use for Mobe, we used GetResponse for years. And I think at the peak with GetResponse, we were emailing close to 700,000 email addresses each broadcast. So a big list. So, from time to time, guys, you're going to have little deliverability issues, but you've just got to make the adjustments. And also, this is why it's super important to add in multiple marketing channels into your follow-up. So for example, when they opt in, have them go and join your Facebook group. Have them go and like your Facebook fan page. Have them add you on Instagram. Okay, or have them send you a message on Facebook. But start to put in these other channels.
I've got all of them in my signature pretty much from day one. Yeah.
Okay, but mix it up beyond that, because if you have them just in your signature, people become blind to them very quickly.
Okay.
So throughout the copy, throughout the emails at different points, add in a benefit to go and do it right now. So for example, on day 2, after the first paragraph, you might have like this, right? So you've got your first paragraph. You might have something like limited time offer. Get a copy of my free 14-page guide on how to avoid losing money online. Just message me directly on Facebook if you want a copy. See, when you do stuff like this, people will actually go and do it, because now there's a big benefit, right? So you'd have something like that. You add in these call to actions throughout your copy. You'll see that? Okay, when you add them in your follow-up sequence or at different points, and there's a different benefit, now the number of people who actually go and do it is way higher. But if you just put your social media icons in your signature, no one really does that no one like takes action on that anymore. So you've got to give them a stronger reason to go and do it.
Should I take them out of the signature or
No,
still leave
you
them?
you can leave them in, but I'm saying just relying on that alone is not enough. You can do more than that. Okay, so like sometimes I might tell a story in one of my emails, and I'll say, hey, by the way, if you want to keep up with everything I'm doing and see short videos on all these resorts I'm looking at, or on this, I'm in Fiji or blah, 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 add me on Instagram right now. Here's my link, right? And I might get a small number of people who go and add me, but the next titanium sale could be in there. So you just keep on doing that throughout your follow-up.
Okay, so I have about 800 people in my AWeber, and most of those just came within like the last 2 weeks from me promoting the Manila I Am Freedom
Okay?
workshop. And no, I do not send out emails every day, or not at all, and I know I have to.
What's the main reason why?
Too busy learning other stuff,
Okay.
pretty much.
All right.
And not knowing what to send out or what to do, and I do know that it's in your back office, but I really haven't had time. That's an excuse too. Never mind.
Okay. So before you guys go and learn more stuff, lead capture page, email autoresponder, and go and attempt to place an ad. Again, these are fundamental things. You've got to do these things first before we go and learn more stuff. Because learning more stuff, it's not going to bring you money right now. The highest probability activity you can do right now to bring money, go and get the lead capture page, build a list, email to your list daily, these fundamental things. You've got to do that first. So when you start saying things like, I don't have the time and so on, really what you're saying is it's not a priority. Okay, there's other things which have a higher priority. And you could be putting learning at a higher priority because in your mind you think that's the answer. You've got to lift it up on the priority list. You've got to make it a priority. So doing things like writing an email every day, that should be like in your top 3 priorities for the day. And I'm assuming you've got other sources of income. Maybe you're working a job, so that's one of the priorities, to go to the job and get paid and so on. But for your online business, writing an email every day, that should definitely be in the top 3. That should be one of the things that you don't go to sleep until they're done. And that's why I suggest to all of you, do it first thing in the morning, because then it's done. You know it's done. You spend the rest of the day, you know it's done. You've got the peace of mind. If you leave it to the end of the day, it's going to get pushed back in priorities, and then it won't get done. So do it first thing in the morning. So that's what I want your homework to be. Go and write an email, send it out to your list.
So I started out with the We Sell Good traffic. That was about 2 years ago. Off of that, I got I started out with 5 of them. I also had gone at that point and done a solo ad, and was able to pull a couple more out of that. I think I got like 500 clicks for whatever amount. I did not at that point have an autoresponder all set up. I wasn't sure about all that type of stuff. And that kind of led to my downfall and pause on a lot of things. So I got that initial like $500 and then wasn't sure about following up and all that type of stuff. I know what the issue was. We've now resolved it. I do have a new traffic coach, which I'll have my 3rd meeting with her in like 2 days at night while I am here.
All right. So right now,
that's
how
one
many
thing.
do you have on your autoresponder?
I had 33 in ClickMonkey and then when I went over to Aweber, it wouldn't let me bring all of them. So now I have
MailChimp.
yeah,
mean
MailChimp. ClickMonkey.
I thought I was thinking the monkey. And I
MailChimp.
thought, okay, that's MailChimp.
Hey, come on. It's close. You knew what I meant.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I knew.
At
The
least
one
I
with
made
the
you
monkey.
laugh. Hey, that gets
Right.
some credit too. So now I have 25 in total, and one of those, of the 25, came through with the Limitless book, and it's actually somebody I was talking to at my last job.
Okay.
So through word of mouth, I was able to get him to go through and, hey, check out this link to go order this book. And I left there maybe 2 months ago, and now he's clicked in and bought a book. So
All right.
there's that.
So total email subscribers on your list right now? So
25.
25.
Yeah.
Okay. And all right. And how often do you email the 25?
I was between, let's say, March and April every day, hounding it every single day. And that's how I actually ended up getting one of the We Sell Good traffics from 2 years prior.
Yep.
Back interested, and she's all the way up to a platinum now with 10 people under her. So
That's really good.
yeah,
So
it
how
does.
much
It
did you
does
make for
work.
that?
10,000. So that's why I'm sitting at that level right now.
Great.
However, I've kind of backed off just a little bit because I had tried a couple of Facebook ads. I was trying to go into after that type of thing. I was kind of advised to go towards like ads for a little while to try to get my page built up.
Right.
And then to go and do ads. So I did place ads. One I just ran the beginning of last month was for the IMF out in, I want to say, Colorado. I had 45 clicks out of 18 on
Okay.
Facebook, and that's what I'm looking at right now, but I had no registrations.
Okay.
I did, like I said, just get my traffic coach all set up, so I do now have a lead page through that, which I'm doing the 21 steps at itworkedforcaroline.com, and I'm having issues with Facebook a little bit accepting that. However, I disputed it the other day, and I was like, I own this page, so I know it's fine security-wise. But it wouldn't let me send it through a post. It wouldn't let me put it up through just a message between me and somebody else. So that was a little discouraging, but I'm trying to get around that right now.
Okay. Got it. Okay. So you got to keep them going. But that's good. You've got a good result. I hope you're leveraging that result in your marketing. Showing like your back office, you made 10 grand, all of that.
So actually the post that I wrote was, want to know how I make $10,000 a month.
Right.
I could read it actually to you. Want to make $10,000 a month. There's a event coming to you soon. Click here to find out. Don't be the last one out.
Yeah.
Don't miss out. Be the only one missing out or something.
Okay. Good. Good. Okay. So why did we just spend 30 minutes doing that? I hope that through listening to everyone else's answers, you guys kind of learned something there. The big overall theme that I got from this room is that you're not doing the fundamental things. That's normal. Okay, a lot of people when they start, they don't. Lack of priorities, or not lack of priorities, but priorities in the wrong order. So as I said before, priority number one should be get your lead capture page, get your autoresponder, go and place some paid ads. Okay? Those are your priorities. And then it's just a matter of placing ads every single day and building the list. Now, some of you who have less than 100 subscribers, the chances of you making sales from those 100 subscribers, I'm just going to be honest with you, they are kind of low. And the reason why they're low is because when you go and get email opt-in traffic, when you get people opting in and giving you their email address, typically you might have maybe a 1 or 2% response rate. 2% would be very good. So if you're getting an email, if you're placing a paid traffic ad, they're then opting in and you're getting an email address, if you have 2 out of 100 buying the 21 steps, that's very good. Okay, that's very good. You can make a lot of money on a 2% response rate. When you're starting out, don't expect it to be above 1%. Okay, because you're still learning how to write good email copy, how to create offers, send out irresistible offers. So you're still learning. So my point is, if you have less than 100 subscribers right now, you need to make it a priority to start placing more ads and be a little bit more aggressive with getting traffic. You got to keep on building that list. Every single day you've got to be building the list. Every single day. When you wake up, your thinking should be, I've got to write an email, send it out to my list, because that's what brings in the money. But after that, it should be, I've got to go and place more ads. Okay, I've got to get more subscribers coming in. Every single day when I'm running Mobe, that's my priority, filling the pipeline. Every single day right now, my goal is to have at least 250 buyers coming in every single day of the 21 steps. I want at least 250 because I know that I have an entire team of L1 sales professionals. They're paid on pure commission, and I need to feed them 7 leads a day minimum. Okay? So I have a whole team of these people, and I have to keep on getting them leads every single day. That's how we're going to hit our targets every month. That's how we're going to make the money we need to. So that's what I think. I think, okay, I've got to communicate with the list, present an offer, and I've got to keep on building that list up. More subscribers. Those activities take precedence over everything else. So going and watching an information product and learning more stuff, that's going to be lower in your priorities. Right now, that's not a priority. Right now, the priority is build the list, lead capture page, place ads, and follow up every single day. Okay? And I said it to you before. I'm just going to say it again. I'm going to keep on saying it. You've got to put aside that time every day, ideally in the morning, where you do these money-making activities. Okay? Do it in the morning. Do it in the morning before your day gets busy and you go and put it at the bottom of your priority list. Okay? So every morning, do these things. Set aside the time and then give yourself a time limit to get it done. So you might give yourself maybe 30 minutes to go and write the email. And maybe it takes you longer than 30 minutes to write an email. Maybe it takes you currently at this time 2 hours to write an email. But by giving yourself the time limit of 30 minutes, you say to yourself, at the end of those 30 minutes, I'm going to stop. And whatever I have, that's what I'm sending out. So it's not going to be perfect, but I'm actually going to send it out, and I'm going to give myself the time limit. Because otherwise, then it becomes this big task. You spend way too much time doing it. You never finish it, and you never execute. And what's far more important on your journey to your first $100,000 is it's far more important that you execute, you have imperfect action, but you actually get it out there versus trying to get everything perfect and you don't execute often enough. Everything that I do in Mobe, you know, when we release something, usually it's maybe at 70% perfection. There's a lot of things which we need to improve. But I would rather execute and then fix things later than try and get everything perfect. You're going to see today we're rolling out a brand new program called Mobe Vacations. Have you all heard of that yet? How do you guys know about that? Okay, it's meant to be secret, so no one should know. But it's going to go live today. Where did I mention it? Okay, yeah. So the public is not meant to know. Sometimes I have a big mouth and I just start telling everyone, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that, and then I forget. But it's not meant to be public. And if you go to mobevacations.com, it's not public, but it will be in a few hours. After I get off stage, I'm going to go and do that. So we're rolling this out, and when you log into your back office, the points is probably not going to be perfect. The display and all of that, it's not perfect yet. The design, I've got to go and tell them to fix it. But I'm just going to release it, and then we'll go and fix it. And that's how I do a lot of things. And it wasn't until I started operating that way in the beginning that I started making good money. It wasn't until 2011 where I got comfortable with having things not be perfect, but just getting them done, releasing them. That's when I started making really good money. Okay, so getting back to what we were talking about, and we're going to break in about 10 minutes, okay, because I know I've been going for a while. But the difference between people who go and make $100,000 and those who don't, these are priorities, guys. Placing ads, building the list. I'm going to add here building list. So every single day, building the list. That's the one thing with Mobe, for us to make, I won't tell you what we do monthly, but it's better than it's ever been. The last 5 months have been incredible. We're on track to double what we did last year. We paid out more in commissions. We're 7 months into this year. We paid out more commissions in 7 months than we did in the entire 2016. We're on track to literally double last year. And to still be growing at that growth, thank you very much, to still be growing at 100% growth after, what is it? I mean, it's been 6 years. That's incredible. There's another company in our space which today closed its doors. Did you guys see that?
No.
Well, I won't say the name of the company because, but they officially, the founder posted on Facebook today, closed their doors. That's after doing, what did they do? I think they did over $150 million in sales in the last 5 or 6 years. This company was all the rage just a few years ago. And yeah, it's a bit sad what happened. I'm sure you guys will talk in the break. Basically, founder got off the track, and some personal issues and just things happened which shouldn't have happened. But most companies in our space, they have a lifespan. They don't. Many of them don't even get beyond 3 years or 5 years. So to still be doubling from 1 year to the next after all of this time is it's not the typical example in this space. Now, why does that continue to happen? It continues to happen because we spend, when I say we, I'm talking about basically me, corporate, I spend a lot of money every month. Now, don't get me wrong, the Mobe consultants, all of you guys together, you bring in a lot of business, okay? You have an enormous role, and you've done an amazing job. I'm talking about all the consultants in Mobe. But if I relied on just the consultant buyers coming in, okay, just Mobe consultants, we wouldn't have done so well. Okay, we would have had our ups and downs, and we wouldn't be able to scale, because from 1 month to the next, we could double and then we could halve. It depends on who's promoting that month. So what I've always done is I've always made sure that I was spending a lot of our own money buying traffic, sending it to our funnels, and then that makes our revenue more consistent. That means that our phone sales professionals have consistent lead volume. They're getting 7 leads a day, every day. If we just relied on the Mobe consultants, some days they might get 1 or 2, and then the next day they might get 10. And you couldn't run a phone sales division with that kind of lead flow. So my point is, I've always invested big in traffic, and these days we spend about $1 million a month on traffic. That all started out back in early 2009, me being exactly where you guys are right now, and back then my comfort zone was about maybe $20 a day. That was my comfort zone. Now it's a lot more. Now it's quite a bit more than that. But I started off spending $20 a day. I got comfortable with that. I learned how to make money at that level. I scaled up to $50 a day. Got comfortable with that. Went to $100 and then $200 and so on. So that's what it's all about. Every single day, I'm spending more and more money on advertising, and I track the numbers very closely. I make sure it's profitable, but I never forget that the day I stop filling the marketing pipeline is the day that the business will start to decline. If I stop generating new buyers today, I won't feel the effects of that for the next 7 days. I won't notice that in the next 7 days. But a month from now, I will start to notice it. Our revenue will start to drop pretty quickly. Okay? And 6 months from now, if I cut off all advertising expenditure that I do, 6 months from now, Mobe as a company, it wouldn't look so good compared to what it is today. So every single month, I spend more and more money on advertising. You're never going to get to a point where you don't have to spend money on advertising anymore. One of your aims, one of your goals should be to spend more money on advertising. You should enjoy spending money on advertising. You should look forward to it because it's an investment where you can generate some incredible returns. You can get returns from your own advertising that you could never get in real estate or on the stock market, okay, or investing in some other asset class. But from your own list, you know, it is possible to double your money within 30 or 60 days from spending money on traffic and then seeing sales come in. There's not many other places where you can generate returns like that. So one of your goals should be to get to the point where for every dollar you spend in traffic, you're able to get back $1.10, $1.20, $1.50, maybe $2, maybe even more. But my point is you're able to be profitable. And then it's just a matter of spending more money from one month to the next. So, you know, those of you who made sales, when you made $1,000 one month or $5,000 in the previous month, I hope that you thought to yourself, I'm going to take the majority of what I just made and I'm going to reinvest that back into my traffic next month and I'm going to scale. Because that's what you should do. The aim of the game is not to spend less on traffic. It's to spend more and more and more. That's how you scale. So you should look forward to the day when you're spending $10,000 a month on traffic, $120,000 a year. Because if you're following up and if you get good at conversions, maybe you're able to make $2 or $3 for every dollar you spend. So you go and spend $120,000, you bring in $360,000, minus what you spent on traffic, you're still netting $240,000, $250,000 a year. Okay, but to work your way up to that, it's all about this, follow-up. It's all about follow-up. So the habits you learn here over the next 5 days, and that you actually go and start practicing and doing, like emailing every day, crafting irresistible offers, doing webinars, okay, doing actual webinars once a week minimum. These things which actually bring in money, when they become habits and you do them, that's when you're able to get conversions. The first thing I would do to do my very first webinar, the priority is to just go through the motions of doing it so you know the mechanics of doing it. So setting up a registration page at gotowebinar.com. Would you like me later on in the next 5 days, would you like me just to go and show you how to do it all? Yeah, I will. Okay, so just remind me. I will walk you through how to do it. It's not hard, but when I show you how to do it, you'll see. So the priority when you do your first webinar, go through the mechanics of doing it. Registration page, promoting it, having people on the webinar, and then delivering a presentation. Okay? So as far as topics, what I would do is I would do something that's really simple. I would show them the 21 steps. So my webinar topic would be something like this. Revealed, the system which has paid out over $75 million to date. ... Okay, that's your webinar title. Your webinar registration page says, on this one-time only webinar, I'm actually going to share with you on your screen the exact system, which is paid out now over $75 million in commissions. I'll show you how it works, I'll show you what it is, and I'll show you how to get started. Okay, so then they register and they show up. Now when they show up, you start the presentation off by saying, welcome to the webinar, here's who I am. So you tell them a little bit about yourself. You then share with them the system and you say, well, first of all, this is a high ticket affiliate marketing system. Here's how it works. You generate a front-end buyer. In this case, it's a $49 buyer. The sales team then follows up with your buyers. They walk them through a series of steps where they're teaching, they're educating them, but at the same time, they're presenting these different programs which they can buy. Here are the price points. Here are the commissions. Okay? And then your role is simply to fill the pipeline by placing ads. So here's a way that you might go and do an advertisement. You could go to your Facebook profile. You could go to facebook.com and then you actually go and do it right in front of them. You actually go, because you're sharing your screen, you go to your Facebook and you show them the ad. And you say, by the way, everyone on the webinar, feel free to copy my ad, right? Feel free to copy my ad. And then you log into the 21 steps and you show them what they're going to get. Now you don't show them every little detail, but you just kind of glance over it. You say, here's the steps. You're going to have a coach. They're going to walk you through, and then here are the main programs they will offer. Okay, and you don't go into extreme detail. You just touch on what they are, price point, roughly what is it about, and here's the commission. And then at the end, you finish with the call to action. You say, look, if you're ready to get started leveraging this exact same system I've just shown you, here's what you need to go and do. Go to this, or you could just keep it simple. You could say, send me a message right now on Facebook. Okay, I'm on Facebook right now, and let's chat. Send me a message, and then give them your profile link on the webinar. So then you finish the webinar, and then they message you. And then that's where you say, here's the link to get started. It's $49. They go and buy the 21 steps, and you're done. Now, by doing that, you don't have to go and create this big fancy presentation. You might have 3 or 4 slides at most, because most of the time you're just showing them different pages. You're clicking around, going and showing them this page, that page, this page. And you might have rehearsed this once or twice before you do it. You just improvise, right? So it might only go for 20 minutes the first time you do it. My suggestion would be make it short. So you don't make it into this big 1 hour thing, because then you'll procrastinate on it. Make it short. Even if you did a 15-minute webinar, that's fine. And you
thinking like a half hour, like
yeah, you could even
because like you will be willing to give up a half hour, stretch it to that hour. Sometimes people are like,
people will give up an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours if the topic's engaging enough. I've done webinars before where I've had people on for 5-6 hours. Not everyone. Some of them dropped off. I always lose a few, but if it's interesting enough, that they'll stay on. They'll reschedule their other stuff. But for your very first webinar, keep it short. You might just keep it 15, 20 minutes. And you are literally just showing them your back office and you're talking about the system. And when you guys do it for the very first time, which you will all do it in the next 5 days, okay, I'm going to have a challenge and then I'm going to have you all go and do it. Even if you think you're not going to do it, you'll see how we do it, where you all will do it. Because there will be rewards and there'll be consequences.